Something special is happening in Montreal as Cole Caufield is shattering expectations to start the season, putting himself amongst the top goal scorers in the league despite his team's rough start. Also, the Montreal Canadiens have one of the most underrated players in the entire league, and we're going to break it all down for you coming up on this episode of Hat Trick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say we're on the road for 5,000 subscribers here on the channel. If you're not subscribed already, make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, Josh, we gotta talk about the most underrated player in the NHL, which is Jake Evans. Jake Evans is so underrated right now. The way he's playing for Montreal at this point in time is absolutely insane. The guy is a defensive menace when it comes to that center position, and just last night scored his first goal of the season, and it was an absolute beauty of a shot coming in on 2-on-1 and just ripping it past Binnington there. But the big thing about what Jake Evans has contributed to this Montreal Canadiens team so far this season is the penalty kill. Jake Evans right now ranks third among all NHL players for penalty killing time on ice with 27 minutes and 6 seconds. And the Habs it's paying off because the Habs penalty kill is ranked third in the entire NHL at an 89.3%. I mean, Josh, it is so great to see Jake Evans in a contract year come out and have such a hot start to the season, not just defensively for this team, but now dipping into the goodie bag in regards to points.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. If you've watched Habs Digest at all, you know that we are huge fans of Jake Evans over there. But, he's been one of my favorite players since he's come to the Montreal Canadiens. And it's because of things like this. But you're very right, Casey. This is maybe his best start to any season ever as a Montreal Canadian. And he has 4 points in 8 games. Don't forget, his career high in points is only 29. But this guy is one of Montreal's best face-off takers. He's been above 50% this year and the past 2 seasons. He's able to be out there in every single situation where you need a defensive zone start. He's that guy this year. Maybe you wanted Dvorak in years past when his faceoff percentage was higher, but right now it's Jake Evans. But his penalty kill impact has been unbelievable, and watching him play, there's a reason right now he's basically in the top 6. I know Montreal's second and third lines kind of get mix and match at some points, especially with Slavkovsky out, whether it's, Evans with Gallagher and Anderson, or, you move to that third line, you got like Newhook, Kapanen, and Armia. They're both kind of middle 6 lines, but Evans getting that top 6 time on ice. Other than Caufield, Suzuki, Doc, and Slavkovsky, among forwards, it's Evans right after all those guys in terms of time on ice because of this shorthanded impact, but also the fact that you can put him out in any situation and he can create something good for you. So look, every team has that guy in their team that they're like, the NHL doesn't know about this guy. He's the most underrated. Well, that guy from Montreal has to be Jake Evans because he's never going to jump off the stat sheet at you. Last night, for sure, had a really nice goal, but the thing with him is his impact goes beyond that. You look at the game scorecard for the game against the St. Louis Blues, and most games this season, he's right up there near the top most times. So, honestly, he has been... I didn't think he could blow my expectations out of the water because, every year I'm like, he's just so reliable, but he has been more reliable than ever this year, it seems.
Yeah, he reminds me of a guy who enjoys a slice of pizza in Philip Deneau. I mean, he is just the exact thing they needed when they lost Philip Deneau. He came in and filled that role which they needed. He's one of the best face-off takers on the team, having over 50% on the face-off these past 2 seasons, which is a big help. When they need a big face-off win, they're going to put Jake Evans out there because they know he's going to win that face-off, 50% of the time, which if that's your odds, I mean, they're pretty good. And it's just great to see this guy just continue to grow even at 28 years old and develop his game in areas that we didn't expect from him. And if the stat keepers recorded stick checks and stick lifts, I mean, this guy would be some of the leading the league in those stat categories because he's just so good at that. But we did get this interesting take from a Twitter user here, just a little bit of a breakdown of what he said here. He said Jake Evans is the most consistent forward on the Montreal Canadiens. He says he'll never produce offensively, huge offensively. He's going to get you about 20, 30 points a season if you're lucky on that 30 side. But he's a guy who gets those teammates to dig in every night. Shout out to Connor McDavid in that face-off documentary. And he's also, been interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what Montreal does with him. Obviously, he's coming up on the end of his contract. Will they trade him at the deadline? Josh, what do you kind of see with Montreal doing with Evans going forward?
I mean, like, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I know we got a lot of stuff to get into in this video, but I don't see a world where they trade him at the deadline. That seems like an absolute no-go for me. This guy has given his heart and soul to this team, and I would love to re-sign him. I mean, again, he's coming up 28, 29 years old. If you can't really sign him to a 5-6 year deal. I mean, you could. He seems like the kind of guy whose play style would age very well. I would love to see him be a Montreal Canadian for life. I mean, he's one of my favorite players. He's a fan favorite. He's one of the only players, I think, in the league that will get an applause every time he goes to the bench after a great shift on the penalty kill. Like, the Bell Center fans are smart enough to know that. I expect Montreal to offer him a nice extension or a nice new contract this summer. I expect him to stick around long term. As for the number, I don't know. Maybe we're talking 3 million, maybe we're talking 3.5, with the cap going up, I'm not sure. But to me, he's not getting traded. Montreal's going to do everything they can to keep him around. I know we got guys like Beck and things like that, people coming up that Montreal fans want to see be on the team, but what this guy has given, what he gives every single night, every team in the league wants a guy like this, so why not lock him up?
Yeah, I would love to see him stay. I'm a big Jake Evans guy, and I think keeping him here for another 3 to 4 years where Montreal is getting to that peak of competing will definitely help this team out. But we want to hear your guys' thoughts on that down below. Like Josh said, we got a lot to talk about here, so we got to move on. We got to move on to Cole Caufield, because Cole Caufield is special. He is doing crazy numbers to start the season for the Montreal Canadiens, which a lot of people maybe didn't expect coming into this season. I've been saying for the past 2 years that Cole Caufield is going to get 40 goals, and he hasn't, but it seems this season that he could definitely break that 40 goal threshold 100%. I mean, if we just take a look at what he's doing so far this season for the Montreal Canadiens, he has 7 goals in 8 games. That's almost a goal per game, with being a point per game player with 1 assist tallied on there as well, which has put him up tied for 3rd or 2nd, however you want to look at this list, for goal scoring in the NHL, up with Tage Thompson, Nico Hischier, guys like this Ross Colton, who's having an unbelievable start to the season for the Avalanche. He has put his name up with top players in the NHL at the start of this season, and Josh, it seems right now there's no slowing Cole Caufield down at all.
No, we knew that coming off that shoulder surgery, there was going to be a period of time, at least a year, before he could really get back, be fully confident in it. And like, we knew he could play, but based on what a lot of people were saying about the same injury, the same surgery that Cole Caufield had, he wouldn't be back in full form for at least maybe a full year after. And we saw this last season, he still set a career high in goals with 28. I don't know why, but it feels like fans of other teams are like, oh, Caufield, what, he'll score like 15 goals last year? No, he scored 28, and people seem to forget that. And not to mention last year, this was a big point this summer that we talked about a lot, is the fact that his shooting percentage last season was really low. A career low, not even 9%. It was below 9% last year. But Cole Caufield, in his first 3 years in the league, was like around 15%, 12.5%, 13.5%, 16%. Like, he was right there in those mid-teens. And then this year, Casey, he's up above 30%. Now, that is going to lower down a bit. But what I did want to say is that we knew that shooting percentage was going to go back up. He's back to making it look easy, rifling the puck past goalies. That goal-scoring ability that we knew he had is finally showing up again. And if last year was considered a down year, where his playmaking leveled up, his defensive game leveled up, and now this year he's back to scoring goals at the rate that we know he can, I'm starting to expect maybe a 40-goal season with 30 assists or something this year. And those kind of seasons are very rare. But he is showing everything he needs to show to prove to Habs fans that he has that in him. And again, he's not even really shown that playmaking ability that he really showed last year in some of his tougher stretches where he couldn't score. So to have him right there at the top of the league right now, there's a lot of things going right for Caufield. Montreal's power play is clicking much better than it did last season. Still not a top-tier power play, but it's better than it was, which is giving Caufield more opportunity. Not to mention, though, that once Patrick Laine comes back, probably after Christmas, maybe in January, whenever it may be, that's also going to alleviate some pressure on Caufield, that there's going to be another threat, so that'll maybe open more opportunities for him. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts going around here. He's even switching some top line mates now with Suzuki and Doc, where Slavkovsky Bobrovsky injured, but all the same, what he has done so far, KC, has been nothing short of amazing. But I gotta say, I think we kind of expected it as Habs fans. We were like, it's eventually going to happen, and it seems like he's finally turned that corner, and I cannot wait to see what's coming next.
Yeah, definitely. I've expected this from him every season and have been let down a little bit, but this season he has come out to a very hot start. Like you said, putting his shooting percentage in the 30 percentile range, which is absolutely crazy. Like, there's not many players in the NHL that are going to shoot like that in the run of a season.
It's going to go down.
It is. 100% it is going to go down, or he's going to score 100 goals or something like that. But, yeah, it's just great to see him kind of break out of his shell a little bit this year in Montreal. But I think the big thing that's led to Cole Caufield's success so far this season is the passing from his line mates. I think that his teammates are really finding him in those dangerous situations, and when he gets open or close to open in those dangerous situations, he has no problem putting the puck over a goaltender's shoulder and into the top corner of the net, because that's his game. His game is a pure sniper, and he can pick those corners with ease. So when you have a guy like Doc now on your line, who is, in my eyes, a fantastic playmaker and can pass the puck with ease, it's only going to lead to the success of Suzuki and the success of Cole Caufield. And one thing that we've seen as well, Josh, is Lane Hutson, a guy who comes in and just creates plays off the rush. He opens up his hips, he slides down the boards, and he finds open guys with ease. Like, it's easy to him. It's like he's playing NHL 25. So when you have these elite playmakers on your team, it's only going to contribute to the success of your snipers, the guys who get into those dangerous positions, and we're seeing the benefits of this right now with Cole Caufield having 7 goals in 8 games, and this is just great to see as a Habs fan. I mean, we've been waiting for this team to kind of pick it up a little bit, see like they're coming out of the end of a rebuild, and this is what we're seeing so far this start of the season. Obviously, getting a big win last night, getting back on track, going up against Michkov and the Flyers tonight. It's going to be a fun game to watch as well. Hopefully they can get the win there as well. But Montreal is a fun team to watch right now, and I really hope that Caufield does continue his success here this season. But we want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section on Cole Caufield. Where does he finish? How many goals does he finish with this season? Let us know
50.
down below in the comment section. I would love to see 50 as well. But we'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure down below, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you up to date on Montreal content and all NHL content around the league. And if you want to check out a video we did the other day, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host KC alongside my co-host Josh Gosse. Keep your stick on the ice.